What's up? What's up?
Yo,
So once again, y'all, we're having another episode of James Massey Live, where we're interviewing agents that's killing in the industry in order to provide tremendous value for the real estate agent, and honestly, just to kind of clear out some of the cobwebs and get a more clear path to success. So today we have my good friend here, Leon Duncan, and we're going to be talking about building a real estate investing and residential sales team as a real estate agent. And for you all that don't know, really, Leon started off as an investor and just been rocking and still as an investor. Had an investor brokerage in of itself, and I'm just gonna be asking him questions and just kind of picking his brains a little bit about what he's been able to accomplish and what path he's on right now.
yeah.
So without further ado, man, what's up, Leon, brother?
Mr. Massey, how you doing, sir? How you
Oh,
doing?
doing good, man. Doing
Man,
good. Man, I'm
man, I
happy to
appreciate
have
you
you
having
on.
me on.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have you on, man.
You have some of the greatest hits, some of the largest tycoons in this space on, and I'm glad you invited me on. I'm actually looking out the window and I'm seeing my son walking along the lawn. So I do this full time and I make sure the kids are good too full time. So um, hey, by any means, let's get started. But you might hear something in the background.
Nah, it's cool, man. We know in today's environment, you gotta take care of the kids. So everybody's either virtual or something like that. So everybody's working at home. So it ain't no such thing as like you just there by yourself.
It's fall break right now, so I'm not by myself.
Well, man, just kind of diving into it, man. For like some of the people that don't know, like I was telling you, telling everybody, you was an investor, start off investor first, didn't really have your real estate license. Like, how was that journey, and how did you get into that investing aspect of it? Because it's tons of agents that they want to do that, they want to own properties. What are some of the things that you did to kind of start that off?
We jumping right in. I'm a little nervous. Okay, so how I got started. I think back, I got my license in 2006. The market was doing what it was doing, at that time. My broker's license in 2009. And we bought our very first investment real estate, buying whole property in 2015. So we had moved back to Atlanta. We had lived by the beach, Pensacola Beach, for about 3 years and got an opportunity to move back to Atlanta. And still had my license for those 2.5, 3 years. I really didn't do too much. My license was just more or less hanging at a local company here. And when we got back, I was just frustrated with my job, man. I said I didn't want to do this no more. I'm a corporate America exec. Um, had a territory and found a piece of property while I was just driving around the new area we moved to. And I told my wife, me and her, she was in the car with me. I said, man, that's a nice house. And small house, the guy was trying to sell it for sale by owner. And off market, it wasn't an MLS deal. That was my very first experience with buying something that was really off market. And we were hooked after that time. The guy was selling it. So his wife was a gambler. And so it was he took a long time telling us the whole story. He's 2015. He's like, yeah, she's a gambler. No, no, no. I got to get rid of it. And it had one owner since 1954. And it
Wow.
was in her family. And so we bought it. And 3 bedrooms, which was converted to a 2 bedroom, 1.5 bath, one bath in downtown Powder Springs. And I didn't know what to expect. I was figuring, I said, man, this is a 2 bedroom, one bath. It's not the biggest house. It's not the largest house. I figured we'll make a little bit of money off of it. And but it was really good. It was really good. Actually, my first tenant and the only tenant we had while we had that property for about five, probably 5 years. Yeah, 4 or 5 years. She paid on time. Her aunt was there. This is for you guys that are scared that I'm going to get a renter and I'm going to be a landlord and it's going to blow up and go crazy. I really got a great tenant. She was really good. We loved it. Her aunt lived in California, made sure her bill was paid every month. We gave the incentives. We found ways to kind of make it where, if she had any challenges going on that month, we were able to work with her. And that's how we started our investment journey. So from there, we were kind of hooked.
Love it, man. I think a lot of stuff starts off as just a situation where you're just frustrated where you are. I mean, you work in your job, whatever situations that you're dealing with, and then you just kind of get out there and you just start to like just look elsewhere, and
Yeah.
then you start just kind of making things happen. So like, I mean, it sounds like that's kind of what you did there. Knowing something had to change in your life, and saw an opportunity and took it.
That point of frustration, I've looked back in my life and I found those areas, those times when I was frustrated, as great opportunities to pivot and to make a change. And that frustration that was in me, I didn't want to push it down. And I mean, my son, man, he needed me at that time. So I wanted to go back into the real estate community, but I wanted to do it at my own terms. And I have nothing against traditional sales, anything like that. I still do traditional sales at the same time. But my purpose for actually, and I was talking to my wife, who's actually working on her real estate license right now too. Our purpose just started to be, if we're going to fix and flip houses, if we're going to sell traditional business, if we're going to do those things, we're going to do that with the motive of taking that money and putting it into our kitty. My father-in-law uses that word, his kitty. And he got me using it too, his piggy bank, to be able now to buy more buy and hold properties and expand a portfolio, build a portfolio. So I would say earlier when we started, we wasn't really gung-ho on building a portfolio. We didn't kind of have a serious direction on the vision that we wanted. We just wanted to get in and to learn. When I say we, me and my wife, we wanted to get in and to learn just about real estate. We wanted to learn different techniques, creative techniques. We wanted to learn, how do people buy these properties, no money down? How do they find these off-market deals? How do they find these deals that you may not necessarily find on the MLS? Now, the MLS has great deals, but how are they going about finding them? And that kind of helped us now in our real estate journey.
Man, a lot of people, I've had people come to me and they're like, all right, so I got this property and I think it's a good deal. Should I buy it? And
Mhm.
when I start doing the numbers with them and they start looking at everything, it doesn't end up being a good deal. But as an investor, you have to be able to identify, do the numbers, and actually know that that's a good deal and pull the trigger almost immediately, because
Yeah.
if you don't, somebody else is going to beat you to the punch. Like, what are some of the metrics that you're looking for when you're out there?
So I teach. When I say I teach, I threw that out because I do have people that come to me that's not agents, and they want to know, hey, what do you do to find those deals? So metrics, when I look at a deal, I'm looking at what the value is on that property, and I'm aiming for somewhere between 70 to 80% of the after repair value, and then minus the cost of repairs, and that's kind of where I want to come in at as an offer on a property. You know.
Yeah. And even with that being said, with those numbers, I mean, do you ever kind of like go against those numbers sometimes, if you're filling the deal or something like that? Because I mean, I
Yeah.
know some people, what ends up happening, they get emotional about it, and it's like, no, I just know this is the right home for
This is the right home. Yeah.
make me the most money. You know what I'm saying? So is it strictly just by the numbers, or is it
Yeah.
some kind of feelings that go in there as well?
Believe it or not, a feeling does have a lot to do with. Some people say, "Hey, your feelings doesn't have anything to do with it." But at the end of the day, if I'm looking at a house and then I'm looking at a neighborhood where the house sits in and the house looks great, but the neighborhood is terrible, I won't buy it because I don't have a great feeling. You know, um, if I'm looking at a house and it matches the neighborhood and I'm like, okay, this is a 2 bedroom, 2.5 bath, but it is at a affordable housing price. Affordable housing. You're looking at 125 to under 200,000. I think at one point we were generating so many applications for buyers that price point was unattainable. It would come on the market and go off pretty fast with multiple offers. So we were looking at and say the neighborhood's not the best neighborhood, but it fits, meaning this house right here with a little bit of TLC will be a perfect house for a family that has an approval at 125, 150, and they need a nice, clean, comfortable place to live. So we'll come in and make it really clean, comfortable, so they could be proud of it when they purchase the house and they walk out and say, man, we got one of the nicest looking houses in the neighborhood, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. One of the things it's funny because, like, I was reading like a bunch of books when because I started off as an investor as well, and I read a ton of books, right? So I was reading like Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read some other books that I had the Carter Sheets tape, like the Notebook. I had the whole series and stuff like that, just kind of getting into it. Um, what was there some things that you started like really studying early on before you started like, diving in?
Man, believe it or not, we learn as agents when we go in to get our license, and we learn the basic of real estate. We learn terms, we learn how to calculate interest on your closing disclosures and things like that. And I tell agents there's another step after that. I went and I started learning everything. Flip to Freedom. This guy is a podcast. A lot of you guys called Flip to Freedom. And it's not necessarily about flipping houses, but he was doing great in talking about how to find off market deals. Epic real estate investors. I'm free and to give this information out because I really don't care. It blessed me because I'm driving around in my corporate job listening to this and him interviewing these great instructors, even Rich Dad Poor Dad, interviewing these people. You see, and they're interviewing people on off-market properties and talking about how to find off-market properties, what a rehab looks like, do's and don'ts of rehab. Those things started to really posture my mind. I purchased a lot of their courses. Max Maxwell, he's a great instructor. So what I did was I pulled, just like you did, James, I pulled just different instructors, different things that popped out at me. If I opened my YouTube and I felt the person was really saying some good info, hey, I'll buy the course. Let me listen to it. Let me spit out the junk and really keep the bones. And that really started to help me develop and kind of develop my independent investing strategy. Because as you go, there's a lot of do's and don'ts when it comes to choosing a property and not choosing a property. You have to decide what works good for you and what fits you. So for me, I tried to stick more towards things that are like single family homes, things that, I mean, man, I'm married. I got 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, 3 kids married. What does a family, husband and wife, someone coming in a family that has 3 kids, how does it work? What do they want? I know what we want. Hey, let's find something that would actually fit because we are our own avatar. I think I heard John Kitchen talking about that yesterday. Who's your avatar? Who are you selling to? So for us, that's who we were selling to. And even if we went into, and even if I found a townhouse, me and my wife, before we ascended into our real estate glory, we were like, we lived in a townhouse, man, in Union City, and it was us, me, my wife, and my firstborn came at that time. So what does that look like? When we see a townhouse, we're like, man, shoot, that reminds us when we lived in that 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhouse in Union City. So it draws us to that first time buyer that is that's a couple that may have a kid, or a single mom that may have a kid, something like that. But this is what they're looking at. Let's make it clean so we can have the amenity and have them living in a place where they'll be proud of.
Yeah, man. Like, like John talked about Avatar, and what you're talking about Avatar, I always talk about Avatar, like knowing your customer base, knowing who
Yeah.
you're selling to, knowing who the end product user is going to be is like so important when, really with anything you do. So all right, so now, man, like I said, I know like I said, I know you started off as an investor, had an investor brokerage in of itself, and now you're kind of, I don't want to say pivoting, but I
Yeah,
guess it's more so of just working it out now, where you're not only doing investing sales, but real estate sales, but
yeah.
also building like a team around that.
Mhm.
Like what does that look like?
You know, so well, I'm gonna tell you, what does it look like? Wow, it is an ever-changing machine. Like it's ever evolving. So I'll give you an example. When it was a point in time, James, when I came to EXP. I've only been here a year. Prior to that, you spoke to me about EXP, and it was about a year. In just talking to me about EXP, I think 9 months, 12 months. I couldn't really see myself being an investor, and I'm an investor at EXP. What does that look like? I have all of this set up already. Why do I need that? What I started to grow and to understand once I came over, one, you have a bunch of amazing agents and people like you, who already, I mean, you're an investor in heart, so I'm not coming into a place where I'm alone. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing, there's more to just helping a family or helping somebody find a house to live in. That's awesome. When you make that money, you've got to figure out, what are you going to do with that money? Are you just going to pay your bills? You're going to reinvest it into the business. You're going to invest it into an asset. We're in a perfect place right now where we're selling assets. We're helping people buy an asset, So why not turn around and invest in what we already are doing? That product, that asset, which gives us a better, deeper understanding of the market. It actually puts skin in the game. We're not just somebody, you're not an agent that's just someone sitting at home saying, man, this real estate market is great. We got a bunch of buyers. Why don't you go out and buy something? So for me, it first started with the investing portion. Then it came to, hey, why don't I now start putting the team together? And I said, well, I don't really want a team. You go through that whole situation. Well, let's just put it together. So we just have an option. And lo and behold, it just became an option for people that I attracted into EXP that wanted to learn more about the investing portion, that wanted to learn it from me, and they wanted to learn how to sell real estate properly also. So it just started growing from there. And I just started seeing that, hey, if I'm building a portfolio and I'm fixing flipping houses, I need to have it would be great to have some stock, So the value of it, I started to see more as I went. It became a larger picture in opposed to just looking at this one thing. Everybody, and I feel sometimes in the real estate space as agents, we look at this one thing. We're like, oh, this one thing, that fix and flip. Oh, this one thing, that buy and hold, that Airbnb. Um, that's that one thing, short-term, long-term rental. We need to have a space in everything. We need to have cash flow that flows through real estate rentals. We need to have cash flow that flows through agents that we've empowered to be successful, okay? And that they're still in our space and we're helping them win and we're giving them advice and they're closing and we're partner and being a part of this company, only part of this awesome company that we're in right now. So, hey, they're going to give me stock. Keep giving me stock. That's it. So now the saddest thing that I've seen is agents in our industry that have worked for years and years and years, and they don't understand even the fundamentals of buying investment property. They can't seem to make that pivot to get into it. My heart is for that. And then 20 years later, they've done so many awesome things for their broker, won so many different awards, but they really don't have anything to show for it. They don't own stock in a company. They don't own a piece, not even a piece of land that they can actually say one day I'm going to develop, or I'll be able to sell this piece of land and turn around and help my retirement. We started looking at tax liens. We wanted to see, okay, that tax lien, when they're ready to pay it, they're going to end up paying us. You know what I'm saying? So that's another source of cash flow that's coming in. So things like that is, I wish and I desire that agents expand their thinking on. It's not, we're only as good. It's funny. I was corporate America for a big company. I don't care what nobody knows. ADT. I used to be an executive for ADT, and I would clown about it because I went from knocking doors to sitting behind a desk. Literally took 3 years to actually work in that corporate structure, and then the joke became, we're only as good as our last sale, because they don't care anything about anything but the last, your last sales metrics from last month or even last week. Oh, you hit 30 units sold? Awesome. Go do that again next week. You're like, man, all that work. If I'm going to knock doors, heck, I'd rather knock the door, the person, do a short, knock the door, set up a listing presentation, go meet with the person, find out that the person, that it may not be in their best interest to list their property, but we have an awesome express offers program that we can get them cash on that property, and in the form of an express offer, because they've got needs right there. And in the course of doing that, I'm like, man, shoot, I might need to. Would you be interested if I gave you an offer for that property? Yeah. Would you do it? Yeah. So let's put in that express offer. I'll tell you where my offer comes in. And if it fits, it fits. If not, then we'll take a chance on the market. We'll pivot. We'll put it on the market. A lot of people don't know. And I feel like our company empowers us to be able to do that for people. That's a lot, isn't it? I know. but it's really thinking larger than that. So if you're going to sell, I'm a proponent. If you're going to sell, why not buy one house a year? Why not buy one house a year, and or a piece of land, one piece of land a year? And if you've been in for 12 years, you should have 12 pieces of land or 12 pieces of property, or that thing in real estate that attracts you. Some people it's tax lien deeds. Some people it's short sales or foreclosures. Whatever it is, just get out and do it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Now, I love that, man. If you're gonna sell, at least buy one property a year. That's a good goal, I think, for most people, because, like, even with sales, like, we're building a real estate business, we're building a brand, and once you build it up, it's a business, a real business, not just being in real estate where it's gonna always, you should always have closings, but once again, you sell 100 units this year. What's that? You gotta go sell 100 units next year, and then you gotta do it again. Well, but if you're taking some of that money and pulling it off, and you're buying investment properties, that's going to continue to pay you, or even flips, because flips is totally different, because that's like, you can get like, 30, 60, 100, 1,000 plus if you do a flip the proper way. So,
Proper way. Yeah.
you got to have something working for you outside of you working at all times.
And outside of you working at all time, I had a good friend in another brokerage, and she said, "Hey, Leon, I can't do this because I'm in survival mode. We're always in survival mode." So I say, stop making excuses. Find a partner that wants to do the same thing you want to do. You guys create an LLC. You guys buy it. Find a piece of property and buy it. You're like, man, I don't want to do that with anybody. Well, then you don't want to do it, because partnerships make it work. Collaborate.
But don't you? Like, all right. So just kind of thinking about that whole thing. Don't you have to be good at either one of the things? Either you got to be good at finding the deal, or you got to be good at having the money, or you got to be good at having the financing. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of those things got to be connected in order for you to have a partnership, right?
Yeah, and you find partners that play on that strength. So you may be good. You may be let's say you may be a great listing agent, and you're great at getting listings, but you're coming into that house and you're hearing everything that seller is telling you, and you think listing. That seller saying, "Hey, I want to leave out fast right now," and you're like, "Man, this house only needs a little bit of something," and that seller's like, "I don't want to do anything," And then you got another friend at another brokerage, or another friend in your brokerage who's an agent, or just a friend from a job, or just a neighbor from just somebody in your network that you just know. And then, man, I sure like to get into real estate. I got this bag of money sitting right here, and I need to do something with it, And you're like, man, I got the great credit score. I got the house. I can get the approval. She can bring the bag, to the table. Hey, let's do a partnership. And of course, some partnerships are great, some partnerships are bad. You have to weigh that for yourself, and that comes with your experience and knowing how comfortable you feel with the person. I can't sit back and say the 21 steps to partnership right now, with you. But I can't say that they do work. They do really work. I've been fortunate when I've done real estate transactions, and people think it's funny, but yeah, I've had investors that I've done real estate transactions with come back and say, listen, Leon, I got XYZ zeros behind this digit, 500,000. I've got $1 million, man. I want to now lend in that space. I want to, do some short-term lending. I want to do something that 6 month, 9 month, 12 month, can I work with you? How can we work? I've picked up a lot of good partners like that. It's allowed me to be, because I'm out there being a servant and I'm serving people and I'm helping them. I'm answering questions. I'm doing what I do already. And I've got a heart to just really explain it to people clearly, the best that I can. I find out more things, and that's how I've gotten strategic partners with cash. I've gotten strategic partners that they just got a great credit score and they want to get in. I've got strategic partners that they're just out there looking for houses, and they say, hey, can I send you a property and we partner up with it and do a fix and flip, or I'll be interested in buying whole, or I'll send you stuff that's owner finance. Shoot, what can we do to work together? It doesn't always work, but it's a good place to start. My grandma used to tell me, no man's an island. For that reason, you can't really make these wins sometimes by yourself. You can have a certain amount of success, like we had our first rental property, but opportunity is going to be there to do more. It's just a decision on you if you want to partner with that individual to get to that next step.
Love it, man. Love it. So I mean, just kind of recapping everything, the more you talk about it, I'm just thinking about like the process of like, what you did, whatever. So it's like, first, it kind of started off with, not being satisfied with where you are, and then from there, doing the research, what I'm saying,
Mhm.
like, buying the courses, getting all that information in there. I mean, I just think it's something about like every situation where I think I've been successful in a thing. It started off with me like getting the knowledge first, getting the
Mhm.
information, and then when the information, that belief comes in there, for me to actually step out to do it.
Mhm.
A lot of times, you need that in order to step off to do it. And then also, the other part of it is like once you start doing it, you start needing people, so you start making partnerships and connections. And now because of the information that you've learned over the time, now you're turning around and you're sharing it back and you're building a team to do it as well.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to. You know, getting that information. I've always been a great studier. I believe in gathering as much knowledge as you can, but you also have people that have a lot of knowledge and a lot of ability to be able to help you in your journey. Um, so I think it's the best decision I've made. Between that and actually coming to EXP, it's been the best two decisions I've made.
Yeah. Well, I
In
mean,
my,
with the other thing is like, like I said, you took your one brand, and when you came to EXP, it wasn't just EXP. Now it's global, right? Because like at that point, like it's more opportunities, more chance to help more people. Because like, I'm sure I know you're helping. I know I am. So we're helping way more people now
oh,
than
way
we ever
more.
would have done before.
Look,
So
man, and way more people. What was so awesome? I have one person. It's one person that I attracted. One particular person I attracted to EXP is Lewis. Lewis. He lives in another state. I think he's in Missouri. I think it is right. Lewis has his license. Lewis is out there looking for deals and referring those opportunities to agents. So he's like, hey, this lady's in Atlanta. She wants to sell her house. I'm in Missouri. I can't do it. I want to get back to Atlanta. He's originally from Atlanta, so he knows the territory layout. And he refers the deal to somebody, and they go ahead and list the house sales, and Lewis gets a check. I was looking, I said, dang, Lewis, you got a check. And Lewis just started doing it. So now he's texting me. He's like, hey, Leon, I talked to this lady. She is she got this in this house. That's what the pictures look like. That's what she's looking for. You or one of your investors interested in that deal. I didn't recruit Lewis to do that. I didn't bring him. I didn't know what he wanted, but he grew into that space, and now he's making progress, finding out how he fits. That's a partner. I don't. That's less work I would have to do because Lewis is out there looking out for deals for me. You know, this thing that we offer at EXP, it kind of takes a lot of the boundaries and the limits off of. If you're an agent, you're working in Florida, or you're an agent, you're working in Georgia, you're working in South Carolina. I can have agents. Like I've got someone that was attracted by Lewis in Alabama. And so she's on my second line. She's over there and she's finding deals for Lewis and connecting him with deals and opportunities, you know? So this is a different case type of beast that we have. A lot of people don't understand how different this thing is over at EXP. It's different, but it's the same, but it's also designed for you to come in and to now, whatever you can dream of, however big you can dream, now this is a good platform to be able to make your dreams come true.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. Once again, for everybody, we do these every Thursday where we're interviewing an agent that's killing it in order to provide tremendous value for the real estate business. If you have any questions about what it looks like as far as partnership, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Leon. You can jump on, my website is jameshmassey.com. Even if it's just a situation where want to know about investing, you want to know about what we did in order to grow our business. We're an open book and we share. So once again, Leon, man, I appreciate you, brother, for kind of sharing your story and being a partner with me, buddy.
Man, I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Till the next time.
Till the next time, brother.